Sweet Tea, and the SEC. You know they're talking about the American South.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to week 10 of college football, and welcome back to the American South podcast. I'm Colin Johnson, joined here by Tyler Callahan. We've had some difficulties on the live video, so thank you for bearing with us and watching that. So we had a busy week this week in college football and in the SEC. One of the biggest news is Brian Kelly is out as the LSU head coach, and the offense coordinator has been let go as well with Brian Kelly. They had a meeting, I believe, Sunday night, and all of this news was out into the public that Brian Kelly would not be the head coach at LSU anymore. So, as we dive into this podcast, we're going to take a look back into last week's scores and what we thought of those games, as well as some of the coaching carousels and where we think that different coaches are gonna end up landing. And I believe it is going to be a big off season in all of college football, and I think it could be a one for the record books in college football. So getting started, looking at the games last week. Good games last week as well. I was surprised at the Alabama game. I wasn't expecting Alabama to be that close with South Carolina. Obviously, getting the touchdown there in the last 2 minutes. But another big game was Vandy and Missouri. Missouri obviously losing their starting quarterback in Bo Prabula, and their backup already being hurt. So that could be a change for the Missouri offense as well. I was surprised with Texas A&M, and I was glad, not glad. I was surprised at how well their offense did in this game and how badly they blew out LSU. So, Tyler, what were some of your thoughts on the games this weekend and how it impacts the rest of all of college football?
Man, obviously, I think you got to start with the A&M game because A&M looked super dominant. They went in and did something that not many people do, which is go into LSU at night and put a thumping on them. And man, I have said all year that I thought A&M was better than everybody gave them credit for, and man, they are. They're a good football team, and a lot of people were thinking that this was going to be the week that they do what they've been doing, which is every year, which is kind of like slip off. They have that week where they look like they have lost control of what they were doing. They're not going to continue to be that dominant team in the SEC. But man, I'll tell you what, they dominated, and they are a great football team. Another game that I was really surprised by, and not because I didn't think that they would win, but because of how they won, was Texas at Mississippi State. To go down 17, and it really felt like Arch Manning finally took control of that offense. And if you're a Texas fan, I feel like that's got to give you a little bit of juice going into this next week, because your offense looked like they finally started to click a little bit.
Yeah, I thought Texas offense did really well. We talked about earlier Arch and his stats. He did really well passing the ball in this game. I don't know if he will be good to go in their upcoming game, as he is in concussion protocol as they play Vanderbilt at 11 a.m. on Saturday. But I was shocked with Auburn and how well they played against Arkansas. Arkansas's defense held Auburn to 6 field goals, I believe. And Arkansas's offense really struggled. Taylor throwing those 3 interceptions in the fourth quarter did not help the Arkansas offense. And Jeremiah Cobb had 153 yards on the ground for Auburn. And that truly helped Auburn win because total passing, they had about 130, 140 yards. Obviously, benching Jackson Arnold right before halftime there, and Jackson Arnold not playing the rest of the game. But no, I thought Auburn will stick or will stay away from Jackson Arnold the rest of the year. So it'll be crazy to see how that offensive situation works out.
Yeah, man. So one thing I noticed in that game, and I don't want to dive too much into the X's and O's of it, but they were running a 3 wide receiver set with a tight end, and
Yeah,
when they were running that set, Arkansas was only putting 6 guys in the box, and they were running to that weak side, the back side, the side without the tight end, and that they were running, off tackle, and every time the running back seemed like he would bounce it out, it'd be 5 or 6 yards of carry. And there were times where they switched away from that and went to more of, they brought in a 2 tight end set or, an H back or something like that. And Arkansas would load up the box and they would struggle to run the ball then. But with a team and a quarterback with the way Jackson Arnold was playing, it honestly surprised me that Arkansas didn't sell out to stop the run and make Jackson Arnold beat you. But at
yeah,
the same time, like you said, they kicked 6 field goals and the defense did enough for Arkansas to win that game. But when you have essentially 5 turnovers in the second half, and mostly in the fourth quarter, with a blocked punt, a fumble, and 3 interceptions, is really hard to win football games like that.
yeah. Credit to Auburn, they figured out a way to do, but I would way to win. But I would have liked to see Arkansas blitz more and make Jackson Arnold pass the ball. Obviously, you saw that one pass that he made ended up in a pick six, and all the momentum for Arkansas in this game. And so I believe that it hurt Arkansas with Arnold out of the game, but Arkansas should have found a way to win that game.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. You can't lose games that you're up 21-10
Yeah.
uh, at halftime, and you got to find ways to win games like that. But man, we've really went over most of the games. I really want to hop into the coaching carousel talk because I feel like that's what everybody is kind of focused on. Obviously, on Sunday, LSU dismissed Brian Kelly of his duties there, and there's a lot of talk, but let's be honest, LSU is probably the premier coaching job in the nation right now. I think it has to surpass Penn State
Yeah.
personally. And that's a place that you can go and win national championships. They support that program. And it won't, I won't be surprised to hear names like Lane Kiffin in the running for that job. And I don't think anybody should be surprised about it.
Yeah, the SEC coaching is going to be crazy. Obviously, Hugh Freeze was coaching for his job this weekend, and he kept it for another week. And I think Bobby Petrino ultimately he's got to do some more things, like win a lot of games throughout the rest of the year to get that head coaching job. Because this past weekend, if he won that game, he would have been good enough to probably get the head coaching job at Arkansas. But no, LSU is going to be a premier job. You can see Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin could go to LSU if they offered him the right amount of money, LSU or Florida, because those are bigger market jobs than Ole Miss at the moment. But ultimately, he could stay at Ole Miss and lead the Rebels, hopefully, to a championship, as Ole Miss fans would hope so. But who are you looking at right now to see as your top candidate for the LSU job?
Man, that's so hard because college football is in a weird place, and LSU is such a good job that you can go after established coaches at good programs and probably pull them away. So, you hear names like Marcus Freeman and, hear names like Lane Kiffin. And honestly, in my personal opinion, it's really whoever they want to go get. They
Yeah.
can go after just about whoever they want. Um, I don't. I'd be interested to see the short list, but I think that a guy that you have to consider going after is Lane Kiffin. I really feel like that's the number one target. It's a guy with the financial backing that they have can push you in the right direction, and it's a guy that can ultimately win championships down the road with um, the financial backing that they have. So
Yeah,
I'm
another
interested.
if they don't go for a big name like that and they want to go for an up and comer, which I don't think they will, granted, but they could. I would look at John Summerall. There at Tulane, he's won at Troy, and now he's winning at Tulane. He's in Louisiana already, and I believe he would be a good case for that job because he loves Louisiana. Brian Kelly, you knew he didn't really fit in at LSU, and he didn't really like the area, But I think it'll be interesting to see what all LSU and who all LSU goes after.
Absolutely, that's a crazy job, and man, you can really work down the list here. A lot of talk about in South Carolina about Shane Beamer potentially wanting to get out of there before his seat gets too hot. Of course, his dad is a legendary coach at Virginia Tech, so there's like a legacy there for him where it kind of makes sense for him to go there because he grew up over there. His dad coached there. It really makes a lot of sense, and the seat's getting really hot, and I think South Carolina is probably a hard place to win
Yeah,
in the SEC right now because you got to pay to play right now, and South Carolina, uh, they've been one of the premier powers in the SEC before. I don't think that it's hard to believe that they could figure that out again. But as for right now, I think that Shane Beamer definitely is a name to look out for to leave. Another name, obviously, Lane Kiffin to leave. Another name that I've seen thrown around a little bit is Sark. I've seen that people saying that he might go or be interested in coaching in the NFL. Um, and man, in the current state of college football, it's not um, crazy to think that that is a possibility.
yeah,
A great offensive mind like him wanting to get into a situation where probably a little bit easier just to do your job as far as the X's and O's and not necessarily have to worry so much about recruiting. Um, and there's so many other jobs, man. I feel like this is the craziest year. Obviously, the Arkansas job's open. This is the craziest coaching carousel year in SEC football. So, guys, if you have any questions or thoughts or whatever, comment and let us know. We would be glad to answer any questions or offer any insight that we have about the coaching searches that are about to be occurring.
yeah. Like you said, there could be coaches even moving around. Obviously, a name that a bunch of people, like we threw out earlier, Hugh Freeze could easily move. James Franklin could come for one of those big hires, whether that's Florida, LSU. You never know, or go somewhere in the Big Ten or Big 12 and just get a fresh start. But no, it is going to be one of the best off seasons for the coaching carousel, and I believe that it'll be interesting to see who everybody gets as their coach.
Yeah, man, and like people will scoff at me, and I know that he's dismissed it, but that Lane Kiffin or Nick Saban misses coaching. He's
Yeah,
coached at LSU before. Do you think it's like that far out of the realm of possibility for him to be like, hey, that's one of those jobs that I could step back in and potentially, have the same success that I had in the past? I don't think that it's that far out of the realm of possibility to believe that he could do that.
yeah. I was watching College Game Day the other day, and he was like, Miss Terry's enjoying retirement. She hadn't heard a number that she likes, but LSU has the money, and they could give a number that she could like. I guess she's making the decision on if Nick's going back to coaching or not. But you never know with NIL and everything these days. You never know what can happen um, in all of college football year in and year out. Arkansas, if they got enough financial support, could be a top 5 SEC team if they have a $20 million roster. That's just how rosters can flip, good or bad, every single year, and that's just the name of the game now.
Man, and obviously another name that I feel like people aren't throwing around enough is John Gruden has expressed his interest in wanting to coach in the SEC. He
Yeah.
wants to get back into coaching. He's preparing himself right now to be a coach. He's studying the game. He wants to be back, and you got several jobs opening up, premier jobs even now. And that guy wants to coach so badly. Do you think that it's there's the potential there for someone to take a shot on a guy like him, or maybe him on take a shot crack at coaching in the SEC?
Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, he had a little bit of success with the Super Bowl in the NFL. I mean, I guess that's a big success, wouldn't you say? But we saw that workout with Bill Belichick going to North Carolina. Not the game didn't really translate. Obviously, you don't know on NIL and all of that stuff, but I believe that I believe somebody should give Gruden a shot. I think it could work. If I'm Mississippi State, if they let go of Jeff Lebby, or I don't know, one of these smaller schools that if they let go of their coach, might as well give it a shot. They're already down a little bit, and so I believe that it could lead to some success for the smaller SEC schools with the less NIL backing.
Yeah, man, there's a lot going on, obviously. But what do you think about, like, you hear names like Drinkwitz potentially wanting out of Missouri, but also you got some people saying that he really likes being there just simply because the safety net of, like, there aren't real high expectations there versus other SEC schools. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if he went to a school like Florida, right, they're going to have more financial backing than Missouri obviously would. But I believe he is a top coach in this gig, and or in the SEC currently. He knows the SEC, knows how to recruit it, and him just having that knowledge of the SEC, I think he'd excel at a school like LSU or Florida. One thing that you could see is if Lane Kiffin goes to one of those schools, I could see Ole Miss calling Drinkwitz up and replacing Kiffin with Drinkwitz. It would be a downgrade, obviously, but I don't think it would be that big of a deal versus going and getting somebody that's not in the SEC currently. And it's a different ball game recruiting in the SEC versus recruiting in the Group of Five, and I believe that could play a big factor in people's coaching searches.
Yeah, definitely, man. And I don't know. I think if Drinkwitz is going to leave, it's going to have to be a job where it's worth it. It's going to have to be a job where he can, go take that next step. You know,
Yeah,
I don't think Missouri is one of those schools where you expect to win a national championship every year or to be in the college football playoff every year. And coaches are obviously going to say, well, those are our goals and that's our standard. But um, there are places where you can right now and places that you can't, and they're not spending the type of money that it takes to be one of those that can. Um, but um, I would be surprised if he isn't named as a candidate in some of the at either Florida or LSU. And don't forget that that Penn State job is open. So, but I got to be honest with you, I think that's where Brian Kelly's going. I think he wants to be back up
really.
north. I think he would fit in up there. And I have a feeling that's where he's going. Um, but we should see on that. Steve Jones throws in the comment, who do you think gets the Arkansas job? That's a great question, man. We've heard several things like that, um, that the boosters are really making a run at a big name like James Franklin. Man, I don't know.
Yeah,
Uh,
they
I
didn't.
really feel like – go ahead.
Arkansas didn't have the financial backing under Sam Pittman, so I don't believe that. I don't believe that they're gonna throw all the money at a football coach. Most of their NIL money is going toward basketball, baseball, excuse me, and not towards football. And I think that's something that's got to change for Arkansas football to succeed.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting tossed around that the boosters are putting together like an unbelievable package, and they're putting together an unbelievable NIL package, and that we're going to go get a big name. But if I had to put my money on, like, you look at the coaches in around the country, and you have to decide where Arkansas lands on the pecking order. A lot of people have ranked Arkansas as the number 4 open coaching job, behind Penn State, LSU, and Florida.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't know about that personally. Uh, I think that Arkansas probably falls even behind like Oklahoma State, just because of, I think the path to a college football playoff there is easier than it is at Arkansas.
no question.
Um, but the name that I think everybody should be really thinking on is PJ Fleck. He's at Minnesota. He's the head coach there. He Drake Lindsay from Fayetteville is playing for him. He can play. The Lindsay support him, want him there. I just think that he's a guy that as far as jobs go, I think Minnesota is probably comparable to what Arkansas in the Big Ten is, what Arkansas is in the SEC. Steve, I really want it to be. I really wanted it to be Petrino, but I think after what we just saw last week, I don't think it is.
Yeah,
I,
I don't think it is going to be Petrino um, as well. I mean, defense gave Arkansas the chance to win, and the offense just struggled. And so I think that truly hurt his chances. He needed that Auburn win. But going back to what you said, thanks, Steve, for the comment. Going back to what you said on PJ Fleck, they got blown out this week. I can't remember who they played. I'll try to look that up, but I don't believe they scored. And I think football from the Big Ten to the SEC is a big jump. It would have to be PJ Fleck being like winning a bunch of games like Iowa State, and Iowa State's done well. Matt Campbell, I believe, um, he's done well at Iowa State, and I believe he's changed that program. And I believe a guy like him would be good at Arkansas to how he could change the culture. Yeah, Minnesota lost to Iowa 41-3 this weekend, and Iowa's offense normally isn't that great. Um, but no, I would like to see if Arkansas got a Big Ten coach, I would like to see it be Matt Campbell instead of PJ Fleck. I don't believe PJ Fleck would be a good enough hire. I think it would be like an Chad Morris hire, like Arkansas had 8 years ago or something. And I believe that is not what Arkansas fans want.
100% no, I agree with that. But man, to move on to other jobs, the LSU job, obviously we've kind of hammered home on that. But do you think there's any other jobs that people should be thinking about, or do you think there's any other coaches that is like, hey, this guy wants to probably make the move, and he's an up and comer, or he's a well established coach that you feel like that people should keep their eye out for?
Yeah, I think the four group of five are five. There's a bunch of smaller schools, right, that are having a great season. I believe they want to get to the next step. Obviously, anybody in life wants to get to that next step, and the SEC is a big step. That's almost the top step that you can get before like a championship or something. I think Ryan Silverfield at Memphis would be a great hire for any SEC team to get. I would also go look at Alex Golish from USF. I think he's done it well, changed that program. I mean, they beat Florida early in the year, so I believe that would be a good hire as well. Like I said, John Summerall, Rhett Lashley at SMU. Obviously, them being in one of the Power Four conferences currently, I believe just that next step would be. into the SEC, and he has Arkansas ties, so it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up at Arkansas, with him going to the University of Arkansas, being a quarterback there and a grad assistant. And I like the Texas Southern guy, Kenny or whatever, Texas State, sorry, Kenny, and how he's changed that program, for good. But it's just, do these universities want to take a chance on a young up and comer like those coaches, because it could backfire and have another 2-10 season, for any school, no matter what. And it's just all about. I don't think it's as much of who the coach is that you get; it's the financial backing that you have and the ability to pay players. And that's just how I see it. In any coaching, if you got the money, you're going to succeed in the SEC.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that, and I would have agreed to that until I saw what happened with Brian Kelly at LSU. Because if you can't succeed at LSU, it's really your own fault.
Yeah.
And we knew it was weird when Brian Kelly first got there. That very first media day that they had, it was just awfully strange, like the antics and the dance and the dancing and all that he was doing in the videos. you just I don't know, man. The NIL is so weird. I really thought that at first that it wasn't going to have as much of an effect, and then I was like, oh, it's going to have too much of an effect. And then you're still seeing teams like Texas Tech and SMU who have spent bukus of money this year to buy their rosters, and even Texas, spent the
Yeah.
most money, and you know, they're probably not going to be one of the final four teams in the college football playoff. Uh, and that's just it's crazy what's happening in college football right now. And NIL plays a big factor, but I still think you got to get a guy who can put people in the position to win games. You got to have a guy who can develop your younger talent, because you can't live off the transfer portal and NIL alone. You have to have some instant impact young guys come in and get things done.
Yeah, I agree. You can have all the money in the world. If you don't know how to win football games, then you're kind of out of luck. And I believe it'll be interesting. One of the most interesting off seasons in all of college football, with the coaching carousel and all the coaches changing hands. So I believe that could be something to look forward to.
Absolutely, man. Well, moving on from the coaching carousel, obviously there's some games this week. Let's move on to the games this week. We'll start off kicking off at 11 o'clock this week. We've got Vanderbilt going down to Austin to play the Longhorns. And I think that the Longhorns have an edge here.
Yeah, I believe Texas will win this game as well. Arch Manning coming off a great game. I just don't believe that Vanderbilt's offense is high power enough against that Texas defense. I believe that Texas defense is extremely good. And yeah, so I got Texas winning this game by 10 or more. I don't think Vanderbilt offense will put up that many yards or points compared to what they normally have. So I got Texas in this game.
Yeah, real quick, Dog 2, what's up, man? Hey, the college football playoff picture, we will get to that in just a second, so tune in. But while you're waiting, man, let us know who you are a fan of. I'm going to go ahead and guess Georgia, but let us know, man, real quick, and we will get to you in just a second. But, man, I agree with you. If Arch Manning is healthy this week and he can play coming off of that performance that he had against Mississippi State, I think that they're going to start getting their footing, and that I think Texas has an opportunity to reestablish themselves as one of the dominant teams in the SEC. Obviously, they're 6-2 right now. They've got a lot of work to do. A 6-2 team can still make the playoffs in the SEC, guys. A 6-2 team. Let me repeat: a 6-2 team can make the playoffs in the SEC. So,
Like we get.
but back to the comment, man. So we talked about it earlier. Right now, I think there was a post that came out the other day that said they've kind of predicted the field. I believe they had Ole Miss, Georgia, Vanderbilt, Alabama, and A&M in, but that's obviously subject to change. I don't think Vanderbilt's going to end up there. I do think that we potentially do see 5 SEC teams this year.
Yeah.
One of those I do think is Georgia. After looking at the schedules, me and Colin looked over the schedules together, and we did agree that of the remaining schedules in the SEC, Ole Miss has the easiest remaining schedule of any of the teams in the SEC, but we still believe that A&M with one loss, and we think looking at their schedule, that's all we think is going to happen. One loss there. Think Ole Miss is going to win out. Think Georgia's probably going to win out. Depending on what they can do with Georgia Tech at the end of the year, that's going to be a tough game
That would be a
there.
great game, yeah.
But I think that we still see 5 teams. I'm going to say we're going to have Georgia, Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas A&M, and either potentially Tennessee or I'm missing one, and it's right here on the tip of my tongue. The other Texas or Texas, Tennessee or Texas. So I think there's going to be 5 this year.
Really. I don't think there's a way that there's 5 with I think there could be 2 ACC teams with Miami or Louisville. There'll be one Big 12 team. Big 12's not that strong at all. I believe there'll be 3 Big 10 teams, 3 or 4 probably. And
Yeah,
then
probably
you got
Oregon, Indiana, and Ohio State.
yeah, that's who I got. 3. So you got 3,
4,
5,
6.
6, and then you got 4 SEC teams. So there could be 5 SEC teams make it, obviously with one of those being the group of 5. But no, I think 4 will make it from the SEC. I don't think they'll put 5 in there. They'll get a lot of hate if they put 5 SEC teams in there. But I got Texas A&M being the number 1 SEC team, and I got Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia in that order of how they'll be ranked in the college football playoffs. And I don't believe that there will be 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna start off the same way. I think it's gonna go A&M, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss. If it comes down to both teams just having one loss, obviously Ole Miss, Georgia's got the edge on Ole Miss from the head to head. But if there's a 5th and it comes down to Texas and Tennessee, I think you got to take Tennessee.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens there. Moving back in to the games this week, you got a 2:30 game. You got Georgia and Florida. The world's what do they call that? The world's biggest cocktail party or something like that. Let us
Yeah,
know, dog. You know what it's called.
I think it'll be. I think Georgia will run away with this. Florida will be better because it's the of first week playing since Napier got fired and not calling the plays. But no, I believe Georgia will get the win easily.
Man, Georgia's like one of those teams where they're really, really talented. The thing that concerns me about them for the rest of the year is that I don't think they're overly dominant on either side of the football. They're great. They're let me say they're really good offensively and defensively, but they don't excel at either like they have in the
Yeah,
past. But having said that, that Georgia, I do think that they're going to win big at Florida this weekend. Obviously Florida's looking for improvement, but I just don't see it happening. Letting go of their head coach, and Georgia's just too good of a football team. World's largest outdoor cocktail party. Yeah,
you're
so
close.
that's what we got going on this weekend. And I got the dogs winning big, brother. So go dogs.
I've never heard of that. Yeah, going to the 3 o'clock game, Arkansas and at Mississippi. Oh, Mississippi State at Arkansas. Excuse me. Who you got winning this one? It's gonna be a real barn burner.
Yeah, the
This is
problem
forever
is, man,
in 15th place in the SEC.
the thing that Mississippi State really figured out their offense against Texas last week, and that was kind of the thing that I had talked about was like they were doing enough defensively to win football games. Their offense just needed to find that next gear. I think they found it. Arkansas's defense is not very good. I
No,
mean, it's not even kind of good. They're horrible. Let's just be honest. They're terrible, and it's going to come down to a shootout, and they have the over under at 67.5. I mean, this is going to be a high scoring football game.
I think the
Um,
over under, in my opinion, should be 100.5. Technically, think about it.
oh yeah, I mean it could be a 50-50 football game. Man, my guts just telling me that Bobby Petrino really wants that job. And that he knows that a big win this weekend can really solidify that. If you embarrass Mississippi State at home, his name goes right back to the front of the conversation.
Yep.
And that offense can be really good. Taylon Green has shown sparks of genius. Had a hiccup last week, but I got the Hogs, man, and it won't surprise me if they win by 10 or more.
Yeah, I could agree with you. I got Arkansas winning this game easily. Arkansas defense was better last week, and I believe it will continue to be better. Taylor Green's going to come off of that Auburn game and do good, I believe, and Bobby Petrino will be wanting to put his name back in there. So I got Arkansas winning. Going to the 6 o'clock, South Carolina at Ole Miss.
Man, I don't really want to spend just a whole lot of time on this game simply because I don't think the only thing that maybe South Carolina has a chance is if Lane Kiffin is too focused on all this other stuff going on. But man, and Shane Beamer is trying to like keep that seat from getting too hot because I
Yeah,
think he wants out. He wants out of there. Um, so I got Ole Miss in this one. They got a 12.5 point. That Ole Miss is favored by 12.5, but I just think that it's going to be a wash. They're gonna dominate every phase of this football game.
yeah, I got Ole Miss as well. 6:30, OU at Tennessee. Looks like it's going to be the best game of the week. Who you got winning this one?
Oklahoma's defense is very talented. John Mateer has still yet to have that game in the SEC yet
Yeah.
offensively, where he's taken over. But they are playing a Tennessee team who isn't very talented defensively. I think this is going to be another high scoring football game. And Tennessee is a tough place to play. Nonetheless, at 6:30 at night, Neyland is a tough place, man.
Yeah.
And I really like Joey Aguilar and Josh Heupel, and I've been consistent with this, but I really think Tennessee's going to get this win.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I think Oklahoma's defense is going to be better than Tennessee's offense. And so I think John Mateer has a comeback game here, and I got OU winning this game at Tennessee. It's hard place to play at night, like you said, but I got Oklahoma winning. Going to the last game, 6:30, Kentucky at Auburn.
Man, Auburn looked really good on offense whenever they made that change at quarterback last week. Their defense has played well enough for them to be in any game. They just have to figure out how to move the football. They're going to continue with that new starting quarterback. I think that Auburn has an opportunity to win big, and I think they're going to.
Yeah, I could agree. I don't think Kentucky's going to win a game in the SEC. Um, so yeah, I got Auburn easily winning this one.
Well, man, moving on before we wrap it up, and if you guys got any questions before we start winding down here, go ahead and throw those into the comments. But do you want to do a real quick SEC power ranking before we hop off of here?
Yeah, let's do it. I'll do 16-9 first,
Okay.
and then you can do 16-9. I got Kentucky at 16. Obviously, I got Mississippi State at 15, Arkansas at 14. Trying to write them down here so I don't forget. South Carolina at 13, Auburn at 12, Florida at 11, and LSU at 10, and then I got to put OU honestly at 9 there.
Yeah,
I don't believe that they're good enough to be a top team in the SEC. They haven't really done much in the SEC since they've been in there. I believe they're I don't remember 4-8 or something like that in the SEC, or maybe that's one square games. I'm not too sure, but no, that's my list. And who you got from 16 to 9, Tyler?
I'm going to start off with Kentucky, Mississippi State at 15, Arkansas at 14, like you have it. I'm going to do Auburn at 13 and South Carolina at 12, just because of how South Carolina looked last
Yeah,
week against Alabama. Florida at 11. At 10, I am going to go. Um, Probably Missouri. And then I'll do Oklahoma at 9.
yeah, I could. It's hard to do on the fly. I'm I'm looking at a list of all the SEC teams, so I don't forget. Um, so I don't try and forget one, as I should say. Let's see here. All right, so at number 8, I got Missouri losing Pagula and obviously being out of their second string already. I'd put them at 8, and I think they have to find a way to get a win somehow with the backup quarterback. At 7, I got Vanderbilt. 6, Tennessee. 5, I got Texas. And then, like I talked about earlier, who I believe will make the college football playoffs. I got Georgia at 4, Ole Miss at 3, Alabama at 2. Then to round it off, I got Texas A&M at 1. Pretty self-explanatory. Texas A&M has ran through the whole SEC, and so I believe Texas A&M is the best team in all of college football, not just the SEC.
Yeah, dude, they are very talented. Um, they're a very good football team. Um, I'm trying to work through mine here. I just realized that I missed LSU. I should have put LSU at 9 and Oklahoma at 8. So I messed up there. So I will say Oklahoma 8, moving LSU to 9. I'm gonna slide Texas to 7, Tennessee at 6, and I'm missing somebody here.
I believe you're
And I'm
missing Vanderbilt, right?
yeah, that's who it is. Hold on, guys. Bear with me. I'm gonna move Vanderbilt to 6, Tennessee to 5, Ole Miss at 4, Georgia at 3, Alabama at 2, and A&M at number 1. Man, I agree, Steve. LSU at 10 this week is crazy, but the problem is that we saw them lose to a really, really good A&M team. And if I look at this schedule and look at the teams that they have to play, I think LSU would beat anybody below them and possibly even Oklahoma or Missouri. So that's the hard part with LSU is like you look at it's so hard with coaching changes to do power rankings.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree. You don't know how that LSU team is going to come out and fight this next week, and so it'll be tough to see. But let us know down in the comments who you would change and who your power rankings would be in this. And thanks for tuning in to the first live. I believe we'll be doing a live every Tuesday from here on out, I believe. If not, watch the podcast on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. Any last words?
yeah, last words. just watch out for the coaching carousel. Things are going to move quickly. There are a lot of open jobs, so a lot of these boosters and donors are going to want to make a move fast and lock somebody down, especially now with the transfer portal being moved to the spring only. It starts in January now. So they are going to lock down a coaching staff to be able to prepare to go into the transfer portal with a great plan and to be able to understand what they have in NIL as well for recruiting purposes. And obviously, again, just to lock down some of those big names.
Yeah, I think the transfer portal moving back will help a lot, so teams can actually focus on the college football playoffs and then the transfer portal. So make sure you like and subscribe for more content like this, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in.